Hi, welcome to Fighting Talk. I'm Kudo Wales. I'm on a mission to spread the news of Kudo in the UK, but also the benefits of being a martial artist.
I have the pleasure to announce that we have a special guest on Fighting Talk today. He takes no introduction in the Kudo community, but for those of you who don't know him, this is the 12-time All Japan champion, the 2-time runner-up world champion, and the winner of the historic openweight Kudo championships 1998. This is Alexei Kononenko.
Right, everybody, this is Alexei Kononenko, branch chief in Japan, an absolute legend in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes. And thanks for coming on, Alexei. There's a massive amount of difference in time. And I know it's a busy time for you and it's your weekend. So I just want to get onto this. But for everybody that don't know you, can you just explain what your role is in Kudo?
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me for this conversation. I am a branch chief for Sendai Central branch, which is in Sendai City in the northern part of Japan. And I'm also working in KIF, Kudo International Federation. I work there. I'm on the one of the directors for the board of directors, and I represent athletes on the board. And I'm not competing anymore, but when I was competing, I used to be 12-time All Japan champion and 2-time second in the World Championship.
So for people who don't know the difference, what are the difference between those two championships?
Started doing the All Japan Championships in Daido Juku at the time in 1981.
Wow.
And at the time there were no any other competitions. There were only All Japan Championships, open All Japan Championships twice a year. One was weight division and another was absolute championship.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And Azuma Sensei introduced Kudo, this term, this word Kudo, to the world in 2001. And in 2001, there was the first official World Championships.
Yeah.
And since then, every 4 years, we have a World Championship.
Right. Okay. And you know, it's top level. You know, for when you go to World, it's amazing.
Yeah. Before 2001, All Japan was the top of everything. But after 2001, World Championship is a top level competition in Kudo.
And there's lots of good footage out on YouTube of the World Championships. So you should check that out, guys. It's really, really good. So, you know, we've known each other for a few years now. I met you in Rennes. You know, Fabrice in Rennes, Kudo Rennes branch chief. He's doing a fantastic job. You know, in my impression, he's leading things in Europe. And that's why in Kudo and Wales that we're trying to support him in everything that he does. And, you know, I was lucky enough that time to take a student with me. We've been there for a couple of years now. But one thing that I noticed, which I really loved about the way that you were teaching, was that you weren't emphasizing so much on lifting in throws, but more about getting someone from standing to the ground. Would you say that's your preference, or is that down to rules?
Beautiful thing about Kudo is its rules, its concept allows you to use a very wide range of techniques from any background, kicking, punching, or wrestling, throwing on the ground, whatever. And there are many styles of many champions, past champions and current champions. They all of them, they have some, you know, different kind of style and approach to fighting Kudo rules. My approach, I did a lot of different things in past, but my approach, I try to emphasize on, I call it the transition. So I was in Kudo almost from the very beginning, and I saw all these stages. When people were crazy about kickboxing, or people crazy about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, or now they are about mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
But what I saw in the beginning, that when people were practicing, they were doing, for instance, punching and kicking, and some other time grappling and stuff. So all different things. So when they come up in the competition, they were also either punching or either grappling, and there were nothing in between.
Yeah.
So I try to emphasize this transition. When you start on your feet, but just take opponent down, and when you're taking them down, you need to just in this process of transition, you need to take the advanced position, so you can perform on the ground whatever you want to perform.
Yeah, my instructor was always very much, this is my childhood instructor. I'd say to him, if he was teaching me a throw, he'd say, and I'd say, Sensei, is this okay? And he'd say, they're on the floor, that type of thing. It's not so much about perfecting, it's more about function, isn't it? And getting the person to where you want them to be. And that's the issue I'm seeing a lot with those that are following what's going on with Kudo and not willing, because if they're karate, they're too worried about the ground. If they're judo, they're too worried about the striking. But it's the in between, isn't it? It's the kind of the gel, and I think that's what came across in the camp really, really well. So thanks for that. I've got some questions. These are kind of questions that from speaking to people, they're common ones, I guess. So I suppose from your point of view, what does Kudo mean to you? Because obviously it's a big organization now, but what does it mean to you?
Well, it's a big question,
Yeah.
Right now, it's things are when people grow, things, the attitudes changing, and it comes at stages, I think, and like what I felt about Kudo in the past years is a little bit different from what I feel now.
Of course.
When I started, it was like something exotic martial arts. I was young. I was dreaming about going to Japan to learn from the masters, from the source. Yeah. And then at the next stage, so for me it was like it was everything. It was I used to say that Kudo is a lifestyle and blah blah blah. Yeah. But then on the next stage, when I start competing, it was all about competition, winning competition, and I was very competitive, very focused on a sportive aspect of Kudo. And then after competition, when you realize that competition is not that much important and life doesn't finish with competition, then what you do, something what you like to do, like Kudo. I like to spar. I like to be fit, to do physical exercises. So it becomes part of life. It's not the whole life. I cannot say that Kudo is a lifestyle, but I just like doing Kudo, and I think it's beautiful art, and I like knowing new people like yourself.
And that's what the guys over here were saying the same thing, that they like the community of Kudo.
Yeah. So Kudo for me means being just having a healthy, fit life, and communicate with wonderful people, and just making friends internationally. And all I want is for our family to grow. Yeah. So that's,
it will definitely. We just need more exposure, I mean, it's huge in certain countries, but not in Europe at the minute. But obviously, there's quite a few of us, in Italy, in Spain, in France, that we're really, really pushing. So this kind of leads me on to the next question, which is a little bit fueled by me, because before I'd met you, I'd watched this clip, right? of this guy, this Kudo guy, fighting Goliath. You know, it was, for me, martial arts was always about the smaller guy versus the bigger guy, you know, and, you know, does my martial art actually mean that I can defend myself against someone that's absolutely huge, you know? And then Semmy Schilt pops up on my screen, and then I find out it was you that was the person that was fighting him. And you know, like, I suppose the question is, how do you overcome fear? Because if someone stood on a mat like Semmy Schilt, the fire exit was where I'd be going.
Well, to say frankly, I was scared. I was very scared. And when I come up on the tummy, and I tried to see at his face, and I have to do like this. And when the fight has started, I tried to throw some punches, and I realized that I cannot get to his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was scared. But I don't know. Maybe this kind of attitude that is also is a part of martial art training. I mean, not only physical training but mental training.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you when you do some hard exercises, you train not only on your body but also, you know, you're pushing yourself, so your spirit your heart becomes stronger. So at that time I was very scared. I didn't want to fight him, but I knew that I'm there and I'm in a tournament, and my next opponent just turned out to be Semmy Schilt. And I had to step on the tatami. And when I step on tatami, I knew that it's just I have to. That's the only way, because you know, you have to overcome yourself. You know.
You'd say that that's down to the conditioning of the training, you know, because obviously you compete, you're fighting all the time, aren't you? So it's not.
So you overcome yourself physically, and you have to. Now, even if you're scared, you have sometimes you have to say yourself, I have to do it. I just no other way. And just when you know what to do, just go.
Get on the mat. Get on the mat. But that's the question really, is that I want to ask that because, you know, I've never come up against anything like that. I mean, the rules set in a lot of martial arts stop you or save you, don't they, from getting absolutely killed on the mat, but Kudo wouldn't have done that. So what would you say, you've had so many achievements, but what would you say, if you had to choose one achievement, what's been the biggest achievement?
Well, it was winning in the absolute championship in 1998. You know, as I said, in Japan, they have a weight division championship and absolute. Absolute means there are no weight divisions. Everyone fighting each other. And naturally, only big guys coming to win this ultimate championships. So winning all Japan ultimate absolute championship, it's a big honor. Especially for, well, I cannot say I'm a small guy. I was fighting in light heavyweight. But you know, so winning you know, over the opponents who is heavier than you, it's a very honorable thing in Japan. And so when I won in 1998, I won both the weight division and the absolute. So that was the best year in my career, I think, and that was the biggest achievement.
Well, I can tell you that both Ashley in England, you know, Ashley Clews-Jones, and I were, when he was down in Wales kind of training, we both agreed that's, I mean, that's undisputed. That's something that, you know, like no one does. So, you know, that blew our minds anyway. So, you know, when people type in Kudo, they see obviously yourself and other people fighting, and it does put them off. Mike, in the last episode that we did, Mike's obviously in his 50s, and he's still doing really well. He'll spar when he can, you know, and he had a little fight with a guy in his 20s who just come in as well. We've got this lovely group of people who do understand the nature of it. And Kata was taken out of Kudo, you know, a long time ago because, you know, lots of people consider it a waste of time. Lots of different reasons, but with COVID-19, lots of people, even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, are doing kata at the minute. You know, there's been rumours, obviously, of kata being reintroduced maybe at certain points. So, you know, what is Azuma Takashi, you know, our Grandmaster's kind of vision really for the future of Kudo?
Yes, you're right. Azuma Sensei, he is thinking about reintroducing, well, not kata, but some kind of formal exercises into Kudo. Okay. And that's because we want to be inclusive. We don't, the Kudo should be accessible and should be available for anyone, regardless of physical condition or age. Yeah. And but of course, you know, the core element of Kudo is actual fighting, kumite. But when you have some injury or some physical condition, or if you are just well, you are never too old, but older than your opponent. It's impossible to do the same thing as younger guys doing. So trying to, you know, to keep our doors open, we are thinking about reintroducing these formal exercises. In Kudo, we will call them joho. Okay. And it's kind of, it's not kata in a way of like, if you imagine traditional kata, it's not the one-man exercise. It's usually two men performing some kind of punching, kicking, throwing, and so we want to be inclusive. We don't. The Kudo should be accessible and should be available for anyone, regardless of physical condition or age. Yeah. And but of course, you know, the core element of Kudo is actual fighting, kumite. But when you have some injury or some physical condition, or if you are just well, you are never too old, but older than your opponent. It's impossible to do the same thing as younger guys doing. So trying to, you know, to keep our doors open, we are thinking about reintroducing these formal exercises. In Kudo, we will call them joho. Okay. And it's kind of, it's not kata in a way of like, if you imagine traditional kata, it's not the one-man exercise. It's usually two men performing some kind of punching, kicking, throwing, and ground technique, but it's kind of how to say.
So we say like a drill, is it? You know,
it's like a drill. Like a drill. Yeah. And this joho techniques, they cover all aspects of Kudo, like elbows, headbutts, knees, throwing, grappling, everything. How to introduce it and how to make it, because obviously we don't want to introduce them into Kudo as a part of the compulsory curriculum. They should be for people who cannot do the same thing as who cannot fight like in full power. So, but but definitely Kudo will be expanded by the introduction of this formal exercise.
You know, that's a great idea, because, you know, there's like for myself, you know, the injuries that I've got, you know, I know this sounds bad, but it's usually against somebody that's new, or you know, someone that doesn't understand. If I just jump on a joint, you know, because they're quite, you know, they don't understand the technique so much. So you'll kind of go in 40% or something, and it's this, I suppose, the safety element, and you collect injuries as you get older. My friend says you collect disabilities, and you know, and I think it's disheartening for everybody that wants to spar and stay involved in the sparring, because the sparring is where you feel alive. You know, if you, and this is my issue with quite a lot of arts, is that you're so disconnected from the fighting that it becomes really just about your ego and the, you know, what I would say is the scholar side. You try to be someone that you're not because you think you are, because you never get the reality of being punched in the face or taken to the floor easily.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it takes quite a long time to figure out how to put it into the Kudo context, because we don't want people, for instance, saying that oh, I know kata, I know Kudo kata, so I know Kudo.
No.
To be absolutely 100% clear that Kudo is a realistic martial art with real actual fighting as a core of itself. But you know, for the people who cannot do that, there should be some kind of substitute, but as close to the fighting as we can bring it.
Oh, definitely. But, I think that's a great idea, because I like, again, the same thing. I've always said with karate that you've got this longevity. You know, you've got something that you can practice for life because you can practice kata. But I actually don't like solo practice, because I actually go to a dojo to be with people, to connect with people and discuss things and try and coach the kids and, you know, use that experience. But you can't talk about experience if you've never had it. You know, like you can turn around and tell me something, and you don't have to show me, because I know you've done it. You know, and that's I think the element that I think that's great for the older generations, because again, referring to in Japan, to watch the grading in Japan and watching men in their 60s, I'm guessing some of them were 70s, they were going there, they still had their purpose, and they could still throw all their technique, and they could still demonstrate all of everything they needed to do.
In my dojo, one of my students is 73, and he's still doing all the stuff.
It says it all, doesn't it? You know, that's fantastic.
Never too old.
So is there obviously I've got to know you for the last couple of years, but for people who don't know, what type of things do you do in your spare time?
Oh, I do a lot of things. I surf. I'm a surfer. I play rugby. I play ukulele. I also do some arts. And
you do some art. That's a fantastic artwork you're doing. What I'm going to do is take some pictures and upload. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, you're a very talented guy, aren't you? The surfing, you know, I've tried surfing. Maybe obviously when you come over at some point, I'm sure you will at some point, and you go surfing. Everybody expects you as a martial artist to be good at surfing because of balance. I just can't get it. Maybe you're a lot more chilled out. what got you into surfing?
Well, when I started, I thought that I'm an athlete. I'm such a good athlete. Everyone is, you know, just popping up on the surfboards, and it should be easy, I thought. But when I started, I got punished by the nature. It was terrible experience, and just because of my stubbornness, I thought, no, I will get on the board. It took me some time.
You got to put the time in.
But then when you get better, I discovered many things from surfing that helped me in my life, in my Kudo training, and then I've been surfing for 20 years already. And then now it's just a part of my life. I live maybe 10 minutes from the beach, and I surf every day.
Living the dream. And the rugby. So, you know, being a Welshman, like, rugby's the closest thing to our hearts, and we take it very, very seriously. Too seriously, I know that. And you know, I was lucky to be able to give you the English shirt in Malta. only because, you know, if I wore it, like the whole of Wales would kill me and it burned my skin and everything. So, you know, how's the rugby going? You know, obviously it's stopped now, but.
Yeah, that rugby is an incredible game, I think, and I wish I have started it much more early.
Yeah.
It just I've never played team games in my life. I was all my life in martial arts or, you know, some individual sports.
Yeah.
But then just occasionally, because my kids they play rugby, and I saw the old guys just, you know, practicing by. And they invited me, why won't you try with us? And I tried it, and I fall in love with this game because it's like partly is a play, and also it have this, you know, combat.
It's the physicality, isn't it?
Martial arts, very close to martial arts. So you're fighting, you're playing, but you're also fighting. Yeah. And it's also it's kind of very strategical, very tactical. Yeah. You know, and it's like a battlefield, actually. It feels like a battlefield. Yeah. So the game itself is just speed, it's agility, it's power, everything there. Yeah. And then after game, you know, you go to the pub with your teammate, with your opposite team, and you just get drunk and stuff. And this culture. And I think that I saw once a documentary about the history of rugby, and I think that's the core element of rugby is getting drunk in the pub.
So I mean, when I was a kid, you could rock up with a beer belly onto a rugby field. You know, as long as you were big, you could do it.
People play rugby just to get to the pub, and when I play with my teammates, when we have official games with, you know, some other teams. Yeah. I think that even nobody follows the score. Everyone is just playing because it's fun, you know. You do it for fun, and then just it's you know, life should be fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I thought that was great. Teams are good, isn't it? So rugby is. It's, you know, that thing that's like you're gonna go and see a game in a stadium, and we got to make sure we time it right, but. You know, I know when I'm putting too much weight on because somebody says to me like, "Oh, do you play rugby?" Because like a lot of the people they're getting fatter, they wear big tops, you know. So, but the game's changed, and you know, we love it. So,
you know, probably if I've started rugby before Kudo, I wouldn't be Kudo probably.
Well, I'm glad you did, right? Just forever, and I'm sure lots of people are. Right? You've got a good balance. I mean, between surfing, rugby, and Kudo, you know, you're quite the machine, aren't you?
Yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah. So, is there? I suppose you can't announce anything without permission. But are there any planned events for Kudo coming up in the next 12 months that are in the calendar? I know a lot have been cancelled, but
it's just there is no calendar right now.
The Britain's gone bangs.
Yeah, everything is. Nobody knows. It's impossible to plan anything right now. So I cannot. There's just no information, nothing.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you know, I think things like this and having conversation keeps kind of everybody's mind on the club, and you know, and people have to be mindful that these as much as their organisations, their businesses, and people's lives and that depend on it. I know quite a lot of dojos have been struggling, and my dojo has been struggling, but we're getting through it, and you know, the best that we can. So, you know, best wishes to Juku.
I think it's the same situation everywhere in the world, and the same in Japan. Everybody is struggling right now. And you know, we supposed to have a World Cup in Greece in October, but nobody says nothing yet about that. But I don't think it's going to happen. But obviously, when one day in the future it will come to the end one way or another, and we will build from there. We will plan from there. But
I think there'll be a lot of passion going. Everybody's going to be desperate to get back involved, aren't they? So what I've been doing at the end of these is like kind of firing some quick questions, right? So If you don't answer them, don't answer them. If you do want to answer them, go for it, and we'll see how it goes, right? So we'll start with some quite simple ones. So what's your favorite striking technique?
I was always thought of myself as a good puncher with my right cross.
Cross.
But when I see my video and some other people say that I'm better with my left hook. So I don't know.
So left hook's probably more efficient but you want your cross to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say to someone that, because I know you're a very chilled out guy, right? And we've been out for a beer and that, but what would you say to someone that maybe knew who you were and come up to you in the street and challenged you to a fight?
I would just walk away. But if it's about somebody whom I care about, then it's another story. I won't step down.
Okay, well, we won't carry on with that just in case it gets illegal. So you answered the question, how you conquer your fear. So let's move on to a really important question now. I mean, this is the base of like the whole relationship. Okay, so which is better, Japanese whiskey or Scottish whiskey?
The answer is obvious. Single malts.
Yeah. Oof. Yep, so it's a winner. I've got a bit of a headache from the last night one. Penderyn is the way. So one place in the world that you'd like to surf?
Right now, I would like to surf in somewhere in South America.
South America, cool.
Yeah,
big waves.
I've never been. I've been to many places, and basically on each continent in the world.
Yeah.
But I've never been to South America, so I want to go there.
Oh, sounds brilliant. And this is from a friend of mine. He wanted to know who your top 3 life heroes are.
Life
heroes, so people you've looked up to in your life through.
That's for me. It's a difficult question because I don't have actually any heroes in my life.
Okay.
I mean, I try many years ago, just from my experience. I told myself that I don't want to follow anybody's path. I want to go my way.
Yeah,
so nice. I don't try to admire someone or copy somebody's way or somebody's achievements. I respect people, but I don't have any.
I'm happy to leave it there, right? Because I've just won the bet. Because the bet usually on top heroes is Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, or some sort of superhero from being a child. So I'm a winner, and I'll claim that later. Yes, you know who you are, right? And sushi or a burger?
Sushi.
Sushi.
Obviously sushi, yeah.
Yeah, that's only because you're in Japan. Sushi's good.
Yeah, man. Sushi is better here.
Yeah, much better. It's a total different game. Okay, one thing that you would miss or you have missed from Russia, because obviously you live in Japan now.
Vodka.
Vodka, oosh.
Yeah, Russian vodka.
So I suppose that's another thing that's very good in Russia, not so great outside. Yeah. Okay, and the last one, I suppose this is a little bit of advice for everybody. Well, what's the most important thing that you need to do to become successful in whatever it is, not just Kudo, but in life? What would you say?
Successful. It's very relative concept. Being successful.
Of course.
Success is very different for every person.
Okay.
But I think what's really important in life is just to be decent. To be decent, to be honest, and to be just straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
And just and also I think it's important to keep the balance between everything, between your private life and business, or between everything. Everything should be in balance.
It's very wise, and I think we all try to do that. And then I know I'm getting a certain amount of criticism for making videos about things like mental health and but you know, the guys in the club, they fight, right? And I think obviously the thing that I've noticed with Kudo is that we talk less about fighting in the pub, because we leave that in the dojo, right? It becomes about, you know, like yourself with surfing, and you get to know the person because you're talking about them. And you know, so I really appreciate that. When we came to the World Championships, it seems to be a two-horse race, right, between the Japanese and obviously in the Russians. So if you were living in Europe and maybe Kudo is not as big, and you know you wanted to compete at that level, what do you think you'd have to do to be able to do that?
Well, it's very easy. It's practice, practice, and practice.
Okay, this is cool point.
It's yeah, it's you know, in the first World Championship, I was fighting. I was representing Russia. In the third and fourth World Championship, I was fighting for Japan.
Right.
And obviously, because I'm Russian, I know Russia well. Russian. I started my journey in Kudo in Russia.
Right.
And there are no any particular secrets about Russia or Russian fighters. They just practice, and practice means not doing it 3 times a week, 1 hour 3 times a week, but to be very focused and to do it every day, and as many hours as you can, and just when it comes into the final, for instance, usually finalists they are both they're like the same level of performance, and I think when in final to win in final, it's not about performance or strength, whatever. It's about the will. Those fighter who wants to win more than his opponent, he will win. So you have to be like really want to beat your opponent to become the top. Yeah. And this kind of motivation should keep you for some time. I don't know, a few months or a year. Yeah. And your life, you should sacrifice your life. You should devote your life into your training, and with only one purpose: to become the top. Yeah, that's it's very simple. It's not a secret, but no. What make
so it's about success. It's about sacrifice, isn't it? You know, you're willing to sacrifice. Yeah. Well,
there are chances for everyone in Europe or whatever, wherever in the world. You just want to. You just need to want to be better than your opponent, more than your opponent.
Thank you very much for that. That's super clear. Thanks for taking the time to do this. I know there's a massive time difference, and I'm encroaching on your family time, and but I'm sure this will benefit so many people around the world. If someone wanted to get on board with the Kudo organization, I get calls and things like that. From my point of view, it's best always to go straight to Japan, really, to answer the questions from the source, to do with, whether it's to do with funds or whether it's to do with grades or conversions or all of those things. So is there, I can put it on the screen afterwards. Is there a specific email that people should contact, or should they go to a certain website?
They need to access headquarters homepage and just put the inquiry there. Okay. And if it's in English, or if some clarification needed, Combo will pass it to me, and then sometimes I correspond with people directly, sometimes through Combo. It depends on the circumstances, but the first stop is headquarters homepage.
Okay. Well, if anybody's got any questions in the UK, just generally about Kudo, or want me to forward your message to Japan, you can do that. No problem at all. I'll put the email across the bottom after this. Okay. So thanks very much. Give my best to everybody in Japan, and Master Zuma, and thank him, and wish him well at this difficult time. I'm sure his ideas will go down and be received very well by the world. And all the best.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and yeah, the same goes to all people in Wales, in England generally, and yeah, let us get through this difficult time and meet on the other side.
Okay, thank you very much. Huss.
Us.
Jungle.
Starting this off, and okay. Oh, what's that?
It's just it's nothing.
It's an episode in the house.
It's the bathroom says that the bus is ready.
Oh,